We got at least up to 9, if I recall.
We got through 9.
Yeah. So, and I think was it 10 that we kind of like said nope, we're not doing that one.
Yeah, because it was a complex one. I think there was whimpering involved.
Though then having gone through it, it's not really that hard.
Okay. Yeah, just because of all the scale changes, was it?
Yeah, I mean it's just going back and forth between diatonic and hard chromatic.
Yeah.
Just remember
That's all
that.
it is.
It's more difficult than it proved to be.
One question I had, because I was looking at things, is it at all helpful to you guys, and it may not be, so you can tell me, there's a set of rules that St. Anthony's Monastery has put out, that they essentially went through different theory books and different pieces of music and said, here's kind of the rules for certain notes and why you would write them in a certain way, as to why certain things are written the way that they are, and
Is that
I don't know, do you have that? Ah, yeah, the rules of orthography.
Today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, extra credit.
Yeah. So
Teacher's pet.
It's very helpful.
I don't know if you want me to go through it at some point, or if you have you looked at it at all.
I started reading it on the bus.
It's kind of
like the first rule is a rule, and the second rule is the exception to the first rule.
Right,
so
right.
It kind of tells us where things are going.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
And then it's also, if you go to Rule 69, there's some more exceptions to Rule 1.
Well, and I think maybe if we look at a piece of music and say, does this follow the rules? Like, let's look at the rules. Did it do what it did?
Yeah.
And I was looking at it because I was looking at some of the, I was typesetting some music for a friend, and I'm essentially I'm correcting it because somebody writes it out with no association with the musical rules, and I was going back trying to figure out what do I do, and I went back to the rules and I was like, oh right, I did follow these things, good, and so it is a helpful thing, I think.
So these are pretty much descriptive rules. They just went through all the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's other rules around them.
What people seem to do, except for this one guy, who always does it this way.
Yeah. Harmutius or Humusius Hardophylax is always the rogue fellow. But yeah, I found they're interesting to read, maybe. Especially from a compositional standpoint.
We probably need to know them at some point.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why I found them especially helpful is when you look at a piece of music and they're like, oh, I can just assume that we're going to go down a bunch afterwards because of this rule.
Yeah.
So whenever you see like the little swoopy guy, the si piston underneath the note, you're going to go down. Like, and at more than one.
Right, yeah.
So that kind of gives you a clue into what's going to happen next. I've been trying to impress that on the beginners, that like there's a rule to this there's a method to this madness. So, okay, Eothina 10, just sing through it?
Yeah.
All right. So that'll be our nah. I was gonna do an intonation, but I was like, no, I don't really need to.
I do have a question for you.
Yep.
When you look at the intonations, I mean, other than the fact that it says intonation number 20.
Yep.
Like, how would you know to use that intonation?
So like if
there's going to be a couple for hard chromatic.
So, in general, you look at what tone you're singing in. That's the first key, obviously. Yes. And then you look at where it's starting from and what scale it's in. So this is the hard chromatic scale from Pa. So that tells you one thing, that you're starting on Pa, and that's how you have to begin it. Then you look at the type of piece that you're singing. Is it a kathisma hymn? Is it a troparion? A politikion, one of those dismissal hymns? Is it a brief hymn? Is it a slow hymn? Is it super slow? In this case, you have a doxastika, a hymn after the glory.
Right. So what is that?
So that just means it's going to be a little bit longer. So that would be a sticharic.
Okay, so that's what I know.
Yeah, and sticharic just means like the stichira, as far as I know. And so it's a hymn, and sticharic just normally means a little slower, in more notes per syllable.
I guess the thing that puzzles me is that it doesn't say it's stichira, like the stichira say there's stichira. So how do you know?
If you look at any actual book, I don't want to call this not a book, but if you look at any book like from Greece and things like that, very seldomly do they actually tell you what's there.
Right. Well, so that's my question. Like, how do you know that?
Yeah. A lot of it is just knowing where you are, what it's part of. I'll have to bring in some other things and show you what they write. As like for certain hymns, they will tell you specifically, but with this, normally what it would say would be like, glory, both now, and then it would have the hymn.
Mm-hmm.
And you would just know, oh, this then therefore is that type of hymn. And just by looking at it, you would know, okay, this is stichoradic, the slower version.
So the slower one, you think, I mean, does that mean like it typically gets a more elaborate?
Yep. Partly because you want the glory to be, or you want the intonation to be in the same vein as the hymn, but also you want to give everyone the understanding of what they're going to expect. It's kind of like with kids, apparently with kids movies and kids songs, you want to tell them what they're going to do ahead of time, and then they're very much more responsive because they already know what to expect. And we're children in the spiritual life. So, in the same way, it's like if I go, sounds
fast.
After, it doesn't give you anything. But if I go,
more of the scale.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit more elongated. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's the longer ones depending upon what you're singing. So, and sometimes the intonations on some of the CDs, they're just, they take up 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and like, why did the intonation take up more than the hymn? So normally that doesn't happen, but it is kind of humorous. And we can listen to some of the hymns where the hymn itself is like 20 to 30 minutes. Something like this, where it's just cold. So, nah.
No, sorry.
Hey, close. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. After thy descent to Hades, and thy resurrection from the dead, thy disciples turned unto their work, since they naturally lost heart at thy separation from them. Again the ships and the nets, and no draught of fishes whatsoever, but appearing to them, thou as the Master of all, didst command them to cast their nets on the right side. Straightway thy word on the shore. Count us also worthy now to rejoice, spiritually, in that which thy disciples partook of then. O man, be friending, Lord. All right. It's a little bit of a longer one, so and we did it a little slower anyway. Any thoughts, questions?
Not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going back and forth, as long as you get the switch, you're okay.
For me, it's the intervals still.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm getting better, but still, some of the intervals were messing me up in the upper intervals.
I had a question. The second page, page 25, the third line. On they naturally on the apostrophos with the dot and the gorgon. That's sharp there.
Yeah.
But that's ga, right?
I
think.
Yes.
So, but ga's already sharp, right? In hard chromatic. I mean, sharper.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Does that mean
see.
Does that mean it's like even more sharper, or is it just mean? What does that mean?
Since they naturally lost heart. I think they forgot one of those phthora. That doesn't. That seems like something you would borrow from a diatonic scale. So probably on since there should be a diatonic. One of those phthora for the.
Oh, you think?
Since they naturally lost. Yeah, so I would.
I mean, you can't really tell, except that there's no point sharpening it there unless it's diatonic.
Yeah,
right?
there's no reason. I think the only reason why they would put that there is because it would be diatonic.
And then you say
and I don't think that's really a part of the hard chromatic set. Like it doesn't jog my mind.
You don't see
it's
that
only because you borrow it. Because the thing that in my mind, instead of lost heart, you could have the since they naturally lost heart, which is diatonic through and through. Plagal 2 borrows it all the time. But that's what I think. That's why I think that has to be a diatonic phrase, because that fits with the diatonic phrasing.
So probably that. So you think the hard chromatic ends at the K and then it goes into.
Yeah, on since that would be a V. Thores.
And then you go back. And you go into harmonic. Okay.
Yeah. But then you'd have to, and then. Yeah, and then you switch back into hard chromatic in the fourth line, and I wonder if enharmonic would just do that by itself. I don't know enough about that right there.
You wonder what? Sorry.
You know the K after heart.
Yeah.
That's a diatonic K. And I'm wondering if that's also an enharmonic K. Let me bring up the scale chart.
The little thing says it's diatonic.
Right. That's why I sometimes they borrow from each other. So it might be also for enharmonic. Let me bring up my little scale chart.
Well, I mean, it's the same in either, right? So it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So does it have the same?
It's say for the diatonic and the enharmonic.
Okay. Yeah. So if we bring that up, let's see. Yeah, enharmonic. Yeah. So it's kind of unclear whether that K is just because of the enharmonic symbol, or whether it's also because it should be actually be diatonic and they forgot about it. but I'm going to say, at least for the moment until I prove myself wrong, that would be diatonic to me. Does that kind of make sense? So, yeah, that's only my thought there. Yeah, otherwise you're right. The sharp wouldn't make any sense. So.
Okay. I mean, the only other place where it got away from us was when we went really low.
Yeah.
And it didn't go. I mean.
Yeah.
We're kind of, at least for me, we were kind of bumping along the basement line frame.
Okay. So do you want to read it through one more time?
Yeah.
A little faster.
Yeah, a little faster. I mean, once you get used to the scale changes back and forth, it's really not that difficult.
Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. After thy descent to Hades, and thy resurrection from the dead, thy disciples turned unto their work, since they naturally lost heart at thy separation from them. Again the ships and the nets had no draught of fishes whatsoever, but appearing to them, thou as the Master of all didst command them to cast their nets on the right side. Straightway thy word became deed, and then there was a great multitude of fishes, and a strange the upper ready on the shore. Count us also worthy now to rejoice spiritually in that which thy disciples partook of them. O man, befriending Lord. Okay, cool. The only thing, oh man, befriending Lord, I'd like to do one more time, and then one or two more things I'd just like to look
at. If we're gonna do that, can we take it back from Count Us Also Worthy, the last 3.5 lines?
So, and then we have dew on the shore. Count us also worthy now to rejoice spiritually in that which thy disciples partook of then. O man, befriending Lord. Yeah, that's just the O man, befriend. The 1 and 2 and 1. And it just looks longer than it is because there's more notes there. Man.
And it's not like we got better in a hard chromatic format.
Yeah.
Fourth line. It's like took us a while before.
Yeah, it's a tough it's a little tough transition there. So and then so just to point out, the bottom of the second page was a great multitude. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'll have to look at the Greek and see if they do that. But and then there was a great multitude.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird.
It doesn't really kind of fit with the scale, so I'm wondering what's going on there. I trust Papa Frem to write these things, but
he's got the rules.
Yeah, he's got the rules.
That's right.
Fishes.
The interesting thing about must have been the same. I think it was associated with this. There was like a bunch of examples of how people would translate something, like basically starting out with the original Greek, and then like this person did this, and here's what's wrong with this person this. Oh, see, they did it in Western. That's kind of bad.
Yeah, I love that. Have you seen this? It's all like how to transcribe music into another language, and like how do you fit the music to the words, and what do you do about like all these different things, and you want to preserve the original melody as much as possible. And one of them was, well, this is not tradition at all because this is written in Western music. Next one. And it's like, what?
Hey, they're right. They weren't quite so dismissive, and that was obviously a problem. Like, first of all, I used the wrong transcription.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of funny. It's
you like John Michael Blair, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a snobbery about it. So, okay, I'm good with the rest of that. I think. Number 11.
Oh, I have a question. I was kind of expecting, like, when we got to like 8, that it was going to start over again, but it didn't. It started with Plagal 1, then Plagal.
Yep. Plagal
2, and then Plagal 4.
Yep.
Why didn't it start over again?
And the best of the best. Plagal 1's a good one. Plagal 2 is.
Well, I like Plagal 1 too, but.
Yeah.
They mean something. They have a certain theme to them that they want to convey through the.
It's possible that they just picked the tone that fit
what the words were.
The context. The content. I don't know. Oh, one thing I did want to comment on the last one. I was just looking at it. I have to actually read it. After the descent to Hades and their resurrection from the dead, the disciples turned unto their work since they naturally lost heart at their separation from them. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the hymns giving humanity. It's like, well, that was natural. They obviously were pretty distraught about this whole thing. And again, the ships and the nets, and no draught of fishes whatsoever. So yeah, it's kind of it kind of gives humanity. It's like, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. It's like you're reading it. It's like you think you're better. It's a natural thing. Come on, give them a break. So, okay. If you want to look at it, otherwise we can just go straight into it.
See, this is the kind of thing that messes me up, and it goes like through all the scales, like bang, 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 soft chromatic, diatonic, hard chromatic.
Yep.
Back to diatonic. So it ends on diatonic. That's kind of clear, isn't it? Because it's like, well, I guess it is a diatonic mode.
Yep. Yeah, we do have little, especially at the end, scale changes.
Right. Yeah,
like the wazoo.
Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Just tone 8 diatonic.
Let me know when there's a bunch of triplets too.
Right.
Maybe what we'll do first is we'll just look at the last few lines, and then we'll go back to the beginning.
That's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. That way, when we get to it, it's not just.
That's not quite so blind.
Yeah. So, so I'll just talk through it. By their intercessions, we hit soft chromatic on the, on shuns, and then we keep going that until O Christ. And then from there we go into diatonic with a lot of rhythm there, the triplet, and this is one of those cases where we reiterate words because we just reiterate words. So sometimes it's just because of you want to elongate the melody, and sometimes actually some of the melodies do have a reiteration as part of them, especially the longer melodies. Then on From the Wolves, that is high pa, but that becomes the hard chromatic. Or it could be, I guess, high pa, hard chromatic too. It depends how you want to consider it. So, observe thy flock from. So that could be the or pa. Either one matches pa, ni, zo, zo, ke, or the, ga, vu, vu, pa. So you might call it pa there just because it is a high pa, but. And then we go straight into diatonic.
Okay, and that's why it indicates you're ending on the, because it's the.
No, we're the anyway. That's just your global V.
Your global V.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, right. It is.
Oh, wait, no. So that would be. That means that we'd be on. No, it could be either. Yeah. So that whether that is pa or pa, ni, zo, zo, ke, and lo pa both have the same bottom portion of it, and so the is just our global scale, and then the actual scale change that we're in, that could be pa or ke in the hard chromatic.
What?
Do you want me to write that on the board?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm sure I can follow you pretty well.
Yeah. Let me speak in an intelligible fashion. So you have.
I mean, up until that point, you're in diatonic, and it really is, and so you end on D, and it is D. But now you're going to hard chromatic on. Also on D, possibly you said.
So this is pa, and this is ke in the hard chromatic scale, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So what we did was we went to, we had this, and this becomes. This one is either high pa. With the apostrophe, or regular D. So that's how.
I mean, in terms of how you're treating it.
Yeah,
in terms of how you're treating the local implementation, but it really is high pa, but.
Yeah, it's high pa
You're taking the relationships between the surrounding notes and know it's D.
Right.
Or
high pa in the hard chromatic. Either one's fine. So
right. It's the same. Yeah.
And then what we could do is that this then either becomes the. Or ni in the global scheme. So this is what we see, right? So this just means in the scale that we're dealing with, because this one, if this is high pa, then pa ni zo zo ke. K in hard chromatic is written like this, but from a global standpoint, we're on V.
Global meaning the actual note we're singing.
Yeah.
Not what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So the martuti always refers to like what it actually is.
Yeah. So we were like vi ga vo ga vi ni zo ke vi
Okay.
even though it's pa ni zo ke.
Okay.
Is that
that
makes sense?
Yeah.
But either one, both of these.
I just need to hear it every now and then.
Both of these ones have the same bottom to them, so it doesn't really matter what the bottom's going to be the same thing because they have the same environment around them. So it doesn't really matter what you call them. But I think probably in this case you would probably call it pa, just because you're in that upper portion of it. But either pa or the could work.
Yeah, it would sound weird to be on V and then take it up a fifth and then still call it D.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, vo ga di
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course you go from the pa. That's not pa. The pa. So is that
I don't know. Yeah, at least you're going up.
I'm at a bluegrass concert right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're talking about. Sorry.
I just went back to Pump West Virginia. So.
Yeah, sorry. I'm back there in the
Big
Echo
rocks.
Chimneys, Brothers Comatose is playing. The whole place is good. I know when you go off on that stuff that I couldn't follow it. That's okay. I'm just not there with y'all. That's
no problem. So that's kind of, hopefully that clarifies.
No, it does.
Okay, so by their intercessions, and then we go back the diatonic on that ravage it, and we repeat that again. Okay. Neagie by their intercessions, just that last page. By their intercessions, O Christ, preserve thy flock from the wolves that ravage it. Yeah. Just to let you know, preserve. That's just a thing that people do. That's what I did. Preserve thy. That's fine to do. I think most people would probably just put a little dotted rhythm on there. So I don't know if it is what it is. So that's just a characteristic thing, and you just hear people do it. Makes it more fun too. So any questions on that little?
No, I'm making one more time though.
Sure. By their intercessions, O Christ, preserve thy flock from the wolves that ravage it. How is preserve thy flock? Preserve thy flock.
keep getting
preserve that question.
Yeah, I keep getting thrown off by that. You don't usually see that kind of repetition. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but it's kind of unusual. I'm getting thrown off by the preserve.
The more you see it in Byzantine music, the more it'll become second nature. But yeah, it's not normal in a lot of things.
At least what we've done so far.
No, not in what we've done. So, okay, back to the beginning. All right, and this is about Peter denying Christ 3 times and then having to love Christ 3 times to negate his thrice-fold denial. And you guys know the whole thing about Peter, do you love me, feed my sheep, that 3 times?
Yeah.
3 different, or two different words of love.
Yeah, that he's using,
friend, I love you sacrificially, I love you as a friend.
I love you as a friend, I love you, okay.
And then finally, I love you as a friend. You know, it's kind of like, condescension. So, and I always wonder when Peter is grieved when Peter's grieved, is he grieved because he got asked a 3rd time? Or is he grieved because Christ changed the word? Or I always wonder what's the grievance there. And it says like he was grieved, because he was asked the 3rd time. Right. But then I don't know if there's any nuance there.
It might be a gloss on the part of the evangelist. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or a deeper meaning, like grieved that he got basically busted. Where it's like what's really going on in your heart.
Yeah, you're not ready yet.
Busting my chops, man.
Yeah. All right. Glory to the Father. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. When thou didst show thyself to the disciples after thy resurrection, O Savior, thou gavest Simon the tending of the sheep, that he might return thy love. And thou didst ask him to have care for the shepherding of the flock. Wherefore thou didst say to him, if thou lovest me, O Peter, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. And he straightway, showing his affection and love, inquired concerning the other
Oh, and then return thy love. Can we go through that again?
Sure.
Or that he might return thy love.
Where were...
1, 2, 3, second page, third line.
Yep. So that gave Simon, maybe?
Okay.
Second line. Thou gavest Simon the tending of the sheep, that he might return thy love.
That's it. I'm just hanging on to that. Turn too long.
Yeah,
that's just one beat there.
That he might return thy love.
Oh, and that's right. There's a normal in there, so that's only a note.
Yep.
Alright, I was just hanging on to it too long.
Turn thy love. Yep.
Okay.
So there's that.
And then just that piece at the end, that didn't quite sound.
Sure. Let's do before that. Wherefore thou didst say unto him, if thou lovest me, O Peter, feed my lambs, feed my sheep.
Okay.
Do you know where that is?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Wherefore thou didst say to him, if thou lovest me, O Peter, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. That's good.
Yeah.
Then, was that okay for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, by their intercessions, right? Was that where you wanted to go at the end? By their intercessions?
Yes.
By their intercessions, O Christ, preserve thy flock from the wolves that ravage it.
Alright, that was personally better.
Nice. There was something. I don't know what it was. Something I was going to say. The one thing with a lot of these things, from listening to recordings of like various things, either groups that I've been with or listening to myself sing things, and then I listen when I think like I'm taking up exceedingly large amounts of time. Sometimes you're not at all. Like if you're let's say sessions, oh Christ, like that. For some reason, that doesn't really. In the context of one singing, it seems like an eternity.
Oh, you mean like just taking a break?
Yeah, like that, taking a slight pause. But from the outside, it doesn't sound that way at all. And I remember thinking about that and being like, man, I thought I was wasting so much time because I did something as well, and then I listened to the recording. I'm like, no, didn't even sound like I skipped a beat, because in the moment you're kind of like you want to keep going, you keep speeding up, and so even just little pauses, especially in these long hymns. Perfectly fine, and sometimes I need to swallow. So I don't know how the big chanters do it. As
really
practice, yeah, they're really good, and they know how saliva control and
saliva control.
Yeah,
very important.
And they probably practice all the time.
That's something
too.
I haven't learned yet.
That's a semester we're gonna use it.
You're right. Yes. That's
saliva
good
control
colleges.
1 and 2. Yeah.
One of the chanters I was talking to,
graduate seminar.
One of the chanters in DC, he was like, Nick, have you tried just putting cotton balls in your mouth? like the dentist and like with a little sucker.
That could be the issue.
You can just keep singing for hours for nothing. No, doesn't just swallow it all. And then later on, you wonder why you're so dehydrated. I was kind of like, I had no saliva for the past. They keep sucking it. So that was his suggestion, was just to get those little gauze pads. He's like, would that help? I'm like, I don't think so.
Okay, it was Oprah. They're gonna reach saturation point, and then what do you do? Spit at the stand?
Well, to give you a funny story, so my friend Stefan, who you at least met, I don't think you met, or my friend Stefan.
I didn't meet him, but yeah, he's the guy from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and his brother, so his brother is a chanter, and they're both very good chanters, and they kind of one up each other a little bit every so often, because that's what they do, and there are other brothers a chanter as well, and so there's always these little fights, but when they were at the same church in Pittsburgh all together as brothers, Greg, Stefan's brother, was chanting this long hymn, and he was there, and he started like drooling out of his mouth, and after the thing, his father looked over, who was the head chanter at the time, just because that was his role. He looks over and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" He was like, "You're drooling at the chanter stand, all these things. What's the deal?" He was like, and then Greg was like, "Would you rather me have sacrificed the musical line?" Something like that. He was like, "I was not going to swallow and cause an undue pause." He was like, "I was willing to make a fool of myself," and
sacrifice the musical line.
And the father was like, "I don't know who bore you."
Clearly your mother was not faithful to me.
Yeah, and sometimes they they would have little cups there, and they'd be just like, "Oh," and it's just saying, "All right, the chanter stand has gotten you a little raucous." And I know if you go to Broadway shows, you get spat on in the front row just because they're like enunciating a lot, and indeed at the chanter stand sometimes the books get a little moist, but that was a level above what I had heard. Did you want me to sacrifice the musical line?
So he drooled.
Mm-hmm. So.
By any chance Greg is married, or is he just one of those interesting individuals?
He's married with 3 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
somebody who looks beyond the drool.
He's a neurosurgeon.
Someone else who wouldn't sacrifice his line.
Yeah.
Lots of doctors in the family.
Yeah, she was there. I could see like from a distance. She saw, and she was like, he had so much concern with the music.
Oh, I'm in love.
He has a lack of concern for himself. Sacrifice.
Yes, so he won't mind when babies drool on him.
I think the head chanter in DC, I was talking to his wife, and it was kind of like, Stefan, we were all there, and the head chanter's balding and Stefan's balding. They're all, maybe it's a chanter thing, I don't know. Hopefully not.
It's the testosterone, the manly testosterone of the chanter stand.
So and then the wife was like, "I didn't marry him for his looks. I married him because I heard that voice and I couldn't get away," or something like that. And it was kind of like, and he was like, "I had more hair back then," and it was kind of like, "Sure you did, honey." And I'm sure he did, but it was kind of like from the wife's standpoint, she was like, "Nah, it's cool."
I can see that. There was one singer at the festival this weekend that was like, I turned to my son and said, "I'm in love." He's like, "Mom."
Yeah.
No, that voice, I'm in love.
Yeah.
I don't care if that's his wife standing next to him on
yeah.
stage.
Lyrical pipes, whatever they are.
That voice was just like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
I can see that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it happens. Mm-hmm. So the chanter stand can be a dangerous place with saliva and all sorts of things. and
testosterone.
Yeah. So, glory to the Father. We're just redoing it?
Oh, okay.
We're just singing a little faster. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. When thou didst show thyself to thy disciples after thy resurrection, O Savior, thou gavest Simon the tending of the sheep, that he might return thy love. And thou didst ask him to have care for the shepherding of the flock. Wherefore thou didst say to him, if thou lovest me, Peter, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. And he straightway, showing his affectionate love, inquired concerning the other disciples. Sorry.
Yeah, y'all did it.
By their intercessions, O Christ, preserve thy flock from the wolves that ravage it. Nice. All right. That concludes all of the Euthena. So, next week.
There will be next week.
There will. We'll do it a half hour earlier if that's okay.
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 Oh, yes. We'll still do it. I think we'll be back in time.
Okay.
And then we have parish council at 7:30, I believe. So, if we can do it at 6:30. I think we'll probably. I'll have to look at what time liturgy they normally do, but I think they're done by 8 a.m.
Okay.
Like they start at 5. So, 8 a.m. and then driving back. We should be back, I think, in enough time.
Where are you going?
7 hours.
The Hermitage of the Holy Cross in West Virginia, the monastery over there.
Some of us
So.
are heading up to the monastery to
Revigorate.
our spiritual side.